Hello, this is Adrian from Jazz Karen Astrology, and I've come here to talk to you about this Sunday's full moon in Sagittarius. I've been traveling. I did not record a moon report for the new moon, even though it was a really big moon. I hope you all caught my Substack. I did write about it. I will link my Substack account in the comments below in case you didn't get a chance to see it. Um, but I did want to say I'm going to be traveling a little bit and I may not have internet connections, so the videos might be a little spotty for a while, but once we get into July, I'll be here and available to share to you how I understand what's happening. So let's get right to this moon. Let me go ahead and share the screen. All right. Oops. That is not the moon. There it is. Okay, so here is the moon. Uh, as you can see, we've got the sun in Gemini and the moon in Sagittarius. This is an interesting opposition at this time. First of all, it's a blue moon, and a blue moon is when we have two full moons in a month. And if you remember, I talked about it quite extensively back in September on the fall equinox. We had a black moon, which is an even rarer moon. It's when we have two new moons in the month. So back then, we had the new moon in Sagittarius at 0 degrees and then again at 29 degrees. That 29-degree Virgo moon basically ended the way we discern reality. And then we had a new moon in Sagittarius just before the winter solstice, which, if you remember, we had Three Eye Atlas coming through. Three Eye Atlas um, arrived in the constellation of Sagittarius. It was perihelion as this new moon in Sagittarius happened. The new moon was also flanked by Mars and Venus, which eventually connected behind the sun a few days later. And then Three Eye Atlas left our solar system going right by Jupiter. So there's this belief structure energy that was associated with this new moon. And it was really a new way of receiving truth for ourselves. And this moon is the full moon in Sagittarius. And this is the completion of that moon that began. And it's also very linked to the second new moon in Virgo that happened in September. Because as you know, Mercury rules both Gemini and Virgo. And so Gemini is the way we gather information. It's in our surroundings, we're aware, oh, there's something to slip on over there, or our awareness, which is taken in through the eyes, the ears, the nose, tasting, touching. It's taken in through the Taurian senses because Mercury is really the lower mind. It is the mind that is associated with the earthly realm within the layers of Saturn, where Uranus is outside the layers. We call this the higher mind. And so Uranus, really, this is like the energy of communities. It's the energy of individuation. It is the energy of expanding the mind. It's like very uh, quick download of information that can shift the way we perceive reality. Both Mercury and the Sun have crossed over Uranus. Uranus is going to be in Gemini for the next a little over 7 years. Uranus in Gemini is literally fracturing the way we take in information. It's fracturing the way we understand our reality. And this moon is interesting because while both the sun and the moon are in the first decans, we're talking about um, Gemini, how we're taking in information and how we are understanding our reality beyond that. So Uranus and the sun conjunct is like fracturing this old way that we have taken in for information, which leads to, or leads me to talk about that new moon that happened in Virgo last September. So this moon here is fracturing the way we take it in. We already ended how we discern reality. And then the moon here in Sagittarius is about, so Sagittarius at its base level is about freedom. It's about natural law. It's like all the animals in the world require freedom. And in our cultures that we live in, we're pretty much uh, been placed in a situation where we're following these external rules, and we really don't have a lot of freedom, and a lot of us experience this as stress in the body. You know, we work really hard to, meet our bills and, make sure we're getting the right nutrition and that our health is well. But it falls within this structure. And like I've talked about for a while, Pluto has already been through Capricorn and really breaking that apart. And now Pluto in Aquarius, and for like 18 more years, is about breaking apart uh, our, it's about confronting our emotional limitations to being our own self and to being our individualized self. And the polarity point, which is the direction of growth, is in Leo. And so in Leo, Leo's like the sun. We really want to express ourselves in its true nature. In order to do that, we have to come out of this conditioning and just learn how to be. This moon in Sagittarius is about just that. It is about moving beyond what it is that we know. Uranus and the sun in Gemini are fracturing the way that we've taken in information so that we can begin to take information differently. When this happens, this is the integration between these opposition. When this happens, we'll see ourselves differently. We'll be open to more information. Um, that, it's almost like taking the blinders off and um, allowing us to be more aware of what our surroundings are. So in Sagittarius, we can very often have travel. And like I've already said, I'm going to be traveling. And so this traveling allows us to see more it allows us to see how other people live, other cultures, and it gives us a bigger understanding about who we are. The other thing I want to mention here is that the moon in Sagittarius and Jupiter in Cancer here are mutually receptive. They're the same energy, just expressed differently. And when you have something like that in a chart, if you have it in your birth chart or in any chart, whenever you have, we call it a repeated theme in evolutionary astrology. And whenever you have that, it's like ding, 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 we have to focus on what's here. And we've had Jupiter in Cancer since last summer, and in July, it's going to be moving in to the next sign. We're, as you can see, already at the 23-degree mark, which is in its final decan. And its final decan of Cancer is Pisces. Pisces is about letting go. It's about letting go of what we what we believe about who we are. And this moon is about really going beyond what we know about who we are. So I'm saying that this moon is so incredibly intense because it's really going to bring change. Let's go to, I'm going to just bring a pencil in here, and I want to put a mark here, 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 and here. Boom. Okay. So this is a grand mutable cross. Mutable. So we have signs that are initiatory. This would be Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn. We have signs that are fixed. This would be Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And we have signs that are mutable, and they are Gemini, um, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. When we have mutable signs, mutable means they're changeable. Fixed is like we're going to stay like this because there is a lesson we are learning, and we need to make sure that things stay in that energy so that we can learn the lesson. When we have this mutable cross, or this grand mutable cross, square, we are learning lessons that are going to change. One, the way we perceive reality. We've been talking about for some time now, a year and a half, just about, that these nodes are really moving us from perceiving our reality through the lens that we're separate from everything. And while it appears that way in this journey through duality, and while we have, opposites, the reality is that this is really one earth, and it's um, one reality that we're all sharing in. And so the integration of this is like the one in the many. It's like we are, yes, separate, but we are also all one. And this is the shift in consciousness that we're taking. Once we understand that each of us, I mean, and understand, let's talk Sag. Once we go beyond what we think is our reality and move into understand that each of us is just a mirror of ourselves, this is the energy between Aries and Libra. We learn about ourselves through the other. It's this mirror reality. Once we understand that, then we can stop being so cruel to the other people that live on this planet and the other animals and species and the water and the atmosphere in general. This is the consciousness shift that's happening. And so, what else? I wanted to talk about Mars. Here, I'm going to take all that off. I wanted to talk about Mars, Mercury, and Venus have all moved into different signs. So things are shifting. We're changing this inner world. The outer world is also shifting. We've had Neptune in Aries. We've got Uranus recently in Gemini. Pluto, not that long ago, came into Aquarius. And these outer planets are really bringing about a change in how we perceive reality. I called my moon report on my Substack account the change of perception that leads to freedom. Freedom is what we're all looking for. We're looking to be free from the situations that cause us stress. Um, what else did I want to mention? Chiron at 29 degrees Aries. So Chiron is finishing its journey through the sign of Aries, and Chiron has been in Aries for some time. And Chiron in Aries is really helping each of us to work with the wound that has prevented us from showing up as our true selves, our just very innate selves. We've been conditioned for eons. Our parents were conditioned, our grandparents, and we are just an extension of this. And so this is part of this fracturing of our perspective that really each of us is so important in the grand scheme. Nobody has the same uh, purpose. We all have different purposes. And if we don't do what we came here to do, it goes missing. We're each so very, very important. And in the current reality, it doesn't seem like that. But it's the truth anyway, or it's a truth. Um, and so what I see with this moon is this really focusing, because we have a yod situation here where we're having a little bit of conflict linked with our old self, where Pluto is trying to break us free from the conditioning, and Saturn wants us to stand up. Sorry, Neptune wants us to bring the dream, the vision, the spiritual self into reality. And it's causing a crisis because we see ourselves as separate. So this is the big change. This is the focus of this grand square. It's also, we're changing it. Virgo is the mutable sign. Pisces is a mutable sign. Once we see ourselves as part of the whole, and that we understand that that our purpose is unique within each of us, we can step toward those goals. One of the things that's happening right now is that the information that is coming in is it's like such an overload. So much information, so much conflicting information. And this is part of the Gemini Mercury energy. The thing with information is that it can be manipulated and it can be hidden from us. And a lot of what's happening is what's been hidden is coming to the surface, and it's leaving us feeling very uneasy. But once we really pull into ourselves and really like go beyond, understand that we are more than we've been told that we are, and really be open with our consciousness to discover who we are. This is the moon in Sag and Jupiter in Cancer. And this is the energy that we're working with right now. So this full moon also this full moon is also the blue moon, and what this is going to do is change the order of the moons. Now, the one in Virgo happened, and it changed the moon order so that the full moon would come first, where we could end something, and then later in the month begin something new. This blue moon is going to switch the order back so that we will be experiencing new moons first in the beginning of the month. And yeah, this is basically how I see it. I hope this was helpful. We're going to be learning to trust our intuition. Intuition is part of the Sagittarius energy. We're going to have to integrate what's happening inside us with what we see going on the outside, because it can be manipulated and shifted. And in this time with AI and all this, we don't know what's real, who's really saying what. Yeah. But when this happens, we can turn inward and we get information really directly from source, from the inside. Jeffrey Wolf Green used to say about Neptune, this Neptune Piscean energy, is that he likened it to being in the middle of the ocean in the middle of the night and having no bearings as to where you are. When that happens and it's foggy and like you can't see anything, the perception shifts from the external to the internal. It's almost like, when we lose our sight, that our ears become more sensitive. It's a very automatic thing. And so in these times when there is so much confusion with information, and so much overload, we really have to turn inward to the intuition. And I do believe that this is what this moon is about. It's about a shift in the way that we see ourselves, as we begin to see that there's information on the inside of us that really can guide us. Then we can, take the external information with a grain of salt. So I hope this was helpful for everybody. And yeah, I want to wish everybody a happy full moon in Sagittarius. Oops, I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to link my website in the comments below. I did want to say that for myself, I made some changes to my website. I have reoriented my cost to make it more affordable for people. I have introduced a sliding scale into my website. So do check me out. I can take a look at your chart and see where this moon or any other moon, or if you're feeling any stress and need some clarity, do reach out to me. Like I said, I will link my website and also my Substack account in the comments below. Once again, happy full moon in Sagittarius, and I wish peace and freedom to all of us. Take care, you guys.